Hello. In this video, I conclude the Introduction to Coding Web Games using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript series with Part 9. In the previous video, we cleaned up our code and fully fleshed out our game with a score, a timer, and a steady stream of aliens attacking from above. Now, we will be exploring how to get our game onto a secured website so that everyone can play. First, we will add a few final touches to our game. All code and the image for this video is available for download at the link provided below. Let's get coding. So, if you'll recall, last time we played our game, it was mostly working, but there were just a few little things I wanted to do, like take this D off of paused and just have it say pause. Also, I realized that I never ended the game when our hero gets destroyed like this and keeps playing. So let's do those two things real quick. Taking the D off is easy enough. I just need to search for the word paused. So I do a find for paused. I happen to know it's up. And there it is. Take that D off. Okay, now to end the game when your hero is destroyed, you just go down to where you destroy the hero. And right there at the set timeout, put end game. Simple as that. So now this should be working properly. There you go, pause. And then when our little guy gets killed, look at him, he's shaking in his boots. Game over. Okay, good. So since we're going to be getting our game ready for the public, let's jazz it up a bit. First thing I want to do is get rid of that slate blue background, or that background. And to do that, we go up into the body. And before you give it a background, you got to tell it a few things about the background, like background dash repeat. And you got to tell it colon no dash repeat semicolon. Or else it will repeat the picture or whatever you give it, the gradient, over and over and over. You also have to tell it background dash size and tell it cover, as in cover the entire background, semicolon. Now you can tell it background, colon, and we're going to give it a radial dash gradient, just like on the canvas, except this one has a dash in there. So radial gradient, open close parentheses, semicolon. And in the parentheses, you pass it some colors. And I know that if you go from blue to dark blue to black on a radial gradient, it makes a really cool, striking background for games. And it looks like this. Boom. It makes your canvas kind of look like it's emitting a glow. Okay. Let's go ahead and add some instructions. So underneath the canvas, but above the button, because you want to still be able to press the button, so you don't want to put anything on top of it. So in between canvas and button, open and close some div tags. And div is a very common way to put stuff onto your website, so get used to using it, div. So open, close your div tags, and in the inner HTML for div tags, write your instructions. Actually, first, let's give it an ID, and let's call it instructions so that we can put some CSS on it later. Okay, now within the tags, type just without quotations or anything, just type it out. Type left arrow, and then open close parentheses with the left arrow inside so that you can show them what the left arrow is, which one you're talking about. Say left arrow, show them the left arrow, equals move hero left. And now we're going to do something called a break tag. It's a tag, so it gets, these tags. And then inside, type BR space and then close it with a /. And that's a little self-contained tag that'll break you down to the next line in the text. So it doesn't put the text right after it, puts it underneath. So now we say right arrow, and then we show them the right arrow like this, equals move hero right. And we need another break because we're going to put one more thing. So put one more break tag. It's a BR tag with its own little closing tag inside of it. And then put spacebar equals shoot. Now forgive the coloring on all this. It's getting real confused with all these special letters, but it's still, I promise, it's just going to read it like inner HTML, like a string. It's going to just It's going to print out on your page whatever you put there. But I also happen to know it's going to shove this button way out of proportion. So we need to go in here and we need to change the CSS on the start button so that it doesn't really move. And I just happen to know from practice that I'm going to need to set this to -60 and this to -225. So I'm going to save you the heartache of having to sit there and mess with it and find out that. Just type that, what I've typed there, and it'll work. But we also need to give the instructions some CSS so that they look proper. So remember, it's an ID, so it gets a hashtag. So hashtag instructions, open close curly braces. And now we want to give it a color, colon, of yellow. That's the text color. That's what color the text is going to be. We also want to say font weight, colon, 800, semicolon. And that's going to make it like bold. 100 would be thin, 200 is a little thicker, 300 is a little thicker, 800 is as thick as it gets. And now position, colon, we're going to set it to relative, semicolon. Now if we've done this properly, nothing really will change with our game except that some really cool little yellow letters will show up here with instructions on how to play. Boom, just like that. Now people know left arrow moves guy left, right moves him right, spacebar is shoot. I'm going to add like a little headline, a little header up here so that people know what the heck they're doing. So above the canvas, still in the body, but above the canvas, add an H1 tag and close an H1 tag. And you're going to see me put a space between the / and the H1. That doesn't really matter, but I'll come back and remove it anyway because I don't like the way it looks. Now in the inner HTML of H1, which by the way, H1 means header 1. This is going to be a header. So in the header tag, I just write defend Earth for 30 seconds so that people know what the game's about, what the goal is. It's kind of self-explanatory. And then I go into the JavaScript and I change the timer to 30 seconds from 15 seconds because I don't want my headline to be lying. They're going to be like, hey, this is only 15 seconds. Okay, so now I'm realizing that I never went and I set the CSS. I also take this opportunity to go back and remove that space. Oops. And then in the CSS, YouTube tutorial.css, since H1 is not an ID, it's a tag name, we don't give it a hashtag. Put it up here with the other tag names. Put H1 just by itself like that, and then open close curly braces. And then within H1, we want to give it, again, a color of yellow so that it turns the text yellow. And a position of relative. And that's going to make everything else position itself around our heading and give it room up top. Like that. Boop, boop. So, now people know what they're going to do. Defend Earth for 30 seconds. You see this blue line that I am realizing is up on the top and on the left hand side? That is the margin that just naturally, it's the default margin for the body that I've forgotten about. So up here in the body, either at the top or at the bottom, it doesn't matter, you're going to write margin, colon, and then 0 pix, semicolon. And that's going to take that margin off. There you go. You refresh and it takes it off. Okay, so now we have a nice pretty game. Kind of jazzy, kind of pops off the page, and it works. And the game ends when you die. There's a few things that we still need to do though. I'm still, last video I told you that when you put it on pause it's not redrawing the picture. I misspoke, it actually is. And everything's updating, so when you pause the game, the aliens still come after you. So we got to stop that. So over here in update, where you tell all the sprites to update themselves in their position, put in front of it if game state equals playing, and I've misspelled it. I'll fix that. I've also given it a single. You see right there, I've given it a single equal sign, and if anybody remembers, that means I'm actually setting it to playing. So it's not going to work here. And I'm like, hey, what happened? and that's when it hits me. When I check my code, I'm like, oh yeah, and I sheepishly put 2 more in there. Okay, so now when you hit pause, everything should stop moving. Nothing's going to update itself. And I'll test that out by letting the alien come right up to my face. Then I hit pause. And normally, yeah, the game would have continued and I would have already lost. But now everything stopped and restarted at the right point. So that's good. There's also one last thing. This context.clear rectangle, where we erase everything before we draw it, that needs to go back up at the top. I didn't realize that I had taken that. That is when you call render, that's the very first thing that needs to be up there. Okay, I believe that is all for now for the upgrades. Now that we've made our game pretty, the next step is to serve it inside a website for the public to enjoy. So, this is how we can accomplish that. You can publish your game to the web in 3 simple steps. First, you will need to find someone to host your website. In this video, we will use infinityfree.net as our host because it is free to use. Then you need to upload all the files you just finished creating along with your sprite sheet and any other images to the root directory provided by infinityfree.net. Finally, you need to secure your site so that people can safely play your game without fear of having data stolen. So first, we find our host. In a browser, type infinityfree.net into the URL bar and you should land on this page. You then need to click the register button. You will be shown a form that looks like this. Fill it out with your email address and a secure password, confirm your password, and if you're not a robot, confirm so. Then click Create New Account button. Navigate to your email in a separate tab and verify your email address by clicking the button they send you there. You will probably be redirected to the client area automatically. If not, navigate back to infinityfree.net and click the client area button, and you should reach this page. Click the Create Account button, and you should now see this page. Choose a name for your site and put that here. I chose Alien Attack. Now click Search Domain. If that domain is available, you'll be directed here. If it is not, keep trying new names until you reach the success page. Then scroll down some until you can see the full form. Create another unique password and place it here, and again, prove you're not a robot, then click Create Account. You should now see this page, you should now see this page touting your success and showing your username. Click the Open Control Panel button, and if you see this page, scroll down and click I approve. After a quick thank you, the control panel should load. Click the Online File Manager button right here, and you will be taken to another tab and you should see this page. Double click the folder icon labeled htdoc, right up there, and this page should open. Now you should click the upload button in the bottom left of the page and then select Upload File from the menu, and you should see your directory appear. You need to navigate to the root directory that we created and ensure that you upload all the files from your root directory so that the file manager looks like this. Now you can close out of the file manager and return to your control panel. Scroll down until you find the SSL/TLS option and click it. You should see your site URL with a Configure and an Upgrade button next to it. Click Configure. You might get an ad. On the next page, click the Free SSL Certificates link and you will be directed to a new tab that looks like this. Please ignore the certificate already on my screen that says issued. Your screen will show that you have no SSL certificates. Click the New SSL Certificate button, and on the page that loads, type your domain name into the domain field. For me, that is alienattack, all lowercase, .42web.io. So alienattack.42web.io. Next, then click the Check Domain button, and on the next page, scroll down until you can see all of the options like this. The ones that say Let's Encrypt 0 SSL, Go Get SSL, and Self-Signed. You can ignore Let's Encrypt and Self-Signed and choose either 0 SSL or Go Get SSL. I chose Go Get SSL and clicked the Choose Provider button. You should now see a success page. Scroll down until the record name and destination are in view. Open a new tab in your browser and navigate back to your control panel. You can use the URL above, but it would have your ID, not mine. Next, scroll down until you find the CNAME option down there and click it. You should now see the Customs CNAME Records screen. Here in the record name slot with the source prompt, you will copy the record name from the previous tab, not the word record name, but the little hash code you see after that. Copy that and place it into this field. Make sure the domain slot has the correct domain name selected. And in the destination slot with the destination prompt, that is where you put this code. Again, not the word destination, just the code that comes afterward. So this code goes in here. It should look similar to this, but with your codes inserted, not mine. Click the Add button, and you should now have a CNAME record for your site, and you can close this tab. Now we wait. The record you just created is being sent around the world and recorded in different databases. It can take a few hours for you to be able to continue. I had to wait 1 hour the first time I did this, and actually only 15 minutes this next time. So this will say not ready until it is ready, and the only thing I have found to do is just every so often I would come back and refresh the page and check, and the page will look like this after you've refreshed it and when it's ready to go, when you're ready for the next stage. So once it looks like this, click the Show button and scroll down on the page until you can see the entirety of your private key, and highlight the entire thing from the beginning all the way to the end. That includes the -- begin private key -- and then the end, the -- end private key -- all that. Highlight it. Pardon me. Now hold down the Control button and press C to control copy all of the private key. Now navigate back to the SSL Configure tab and paste that text directly into the text field labeled private key by holding Control down again and pressing V, and then of course releasing them. I forgot that part. It should look like this, but with your private key in there, not mine. If it does, press the upload key. Next, once that successfully uploads, navigate back to the SSL Certificate tab and highlight the entirety of the certificate text in the field on the right. Again, from the very beginning to the very end, like you see here. Now, return to the SSL Configure tab and scroll down until the certificate text field is fully in view, like you see here. And Control-V, paste the copied text into that field. It should look like mine, but again, with your certificate text, not mine. Click the Upload Certificate button, and once that successfully uploads, either hit your browser's back button until you reach this page, or open a new tab and navigate to appinfinityfree.net/SSL certificates, spelled correctly with a capital C like you see it above, and press the Install button next to the domain name you just created. You should be redirected to this page, where if you scroll down a bit, you can see that your status has changed to valid SSL certificate is installed. Now, either write down your domain or copy it with Control-C, and in the URL bar of a new tab, so create a new tab, and up in the URL bar type just like you see here, https:// Then either paste or type your domain into the URL bar right after it. This is the web link to your game. This is what you will give to people so that they can find and play your game on the internet. Now, hit enter. And if you've done everything correctly, you will be greeted with the glorious sight of your game on its own public encrypted web page. Make sure you see the lock icon to the left of your domain name, and all that's left to say is congratulations on completing part 9 of this series. Be sure to make this code your own and have fun with it, and have fun sharing your new game. On our 10th video is merely a bonus video to show you how to add some sounds and even customize a true arcade style button. Seeing as neither of those were necessary for a playable game, I left them out of the main body. So I hope you'll watch the bonus video just to show you a little tiny bit more, but they're not necessary. But keep on coding. And again, congratulations.